What makes Star Trek so awesome, and why should you be watching it if you're a GM? I'm about to convince you.
So your players have got themselves stranded on a planet with pink trees and weird koi. They have to travel over these weird bridges to find themselves facing off against some mystical being of some sort, who informs them their missing transponder beacon has been taken. They now must go on a journey where they are faced with many different forking roads. Do they go left? Do they go right? Do they listen to the weird alien cow-like creatures? Oh, either or. They discover by sheer luck that their precious transponder is being held in a rustic town, and in particular in the middle of a den of thieves. They're going to have to use this very complex map to get back their transponder, and the moment they do, of course, then that allows them to activate the signal and beam back to their starship. Massive thank you to CZEPEKU, who make the most amazing maps. Join their Patreon, link in the doobly-doo down below for amazing monthly maps.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of How to Be a Great GM. My name is Guy. In a couple of weeks' time, Star Trek Adventures 2 from Modiphius drops. I have been playing this system. I've got a sneak preview, and I love the system. It is a narrative-based system. It is a system designed for storytellers. It is a system designed for role players. It is not a system designed for min-maxers. Now, I can't talk about the system just yet. It only comes out in July. For now, I wanted to talk about why Star Trek has been so influential in my life as a GM. Number one, Star Trek has been going since the 1960s and has used the same formula since the 1960s. There is a teaser, something which traps our imagination and says, here is a question, how is it going to be answered? And sometimes it's even, what is the question? That teaser then runs into an introduction. The introduction is where we are told, hey, this is what the actual story is about. At least this is what we think the story is about. We then go into the body of the work. And the body of the show, usually about 20 minutes long, is where we then get the bulk of the adventure, except that by the time we get to the end of the body, there's a twist. Something happens. This twist then completely changes the course of the narrative, but not necessarily what needs to be done. Usually it injects some kind of moral dilemma, some type of question that the crew have to wrestle with until eventually we then get a conclusion, which takes a little bit of time to play out, but it's where the crew then finally resolve the entire situation. It's all very, very satisfactory, and it happens within a 50-minute time frame, unless they're doing something different, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All of this translates to you as the GM being able to use these tools and go, I need these 5 steps. I've spoken about it on this channel before, the 5-step method. Looking at it, it is not a constraint. It is not something that says, thou shalt have 5 steps, and if thine does not have those 5 steps, thou shalt burn. No. It's about guiding you to say, hey, you're still in your intro. You haven't yet got to the body yet. And if you're still in the intro, this means that your players have not yet started to take initiative. They're not yet started to take action. The body needs to be where the players are taking action. And if they're not, then there's going to be a problem with your game. And what you'll find is that by utilizing all of these different techniques, by utilizing this 5-step method, what Star Trek has already been doing for eons. So when you watch an episode of Star Trek, you then start to see this in action, and you can see it time and time again. The Next Generation was running roughly 24 episodes, 25 episodes a season, and there's 7 seasons. You've got hundreds of hours of plots unfolding in front of you following the sequence. They were timed as well. Literally, you could sit there and go, oh, we're within 3 minutes. We must still be in the teaser. Oh, we're at 15 minutes. The body should be kicking off now. Oh, we're at 22 or 23 minutes. Now here comes the twist. So, again, this is not something that you should be sitting there frantically stop watching yourself going, oh, my players haven't yet got here and we're this much. No. It's not about that. It is about guidance and going. My teaser should be something quick and short. Combat, we know, is going to take maybe an hour, depending on what level your characters are and what system you're playing. If your teaser is going to take you 2 or 3 hours to get through, that's fine. If you know that there's going to be a combat, and there's going to be some socials and some investigation, That's role-playing. That's how role-playing ticks through. You don't have to panic about it. At the same time, if your teaser is taking you 3 or 4 sessions to grind through, it's not a teaser. You are either in your introduction and you never had a teaser, or you blew through the teaser and you didn't realize and you're now in the introduction. Either way, it gives you guidance to go, well, my next few sessions need to be the body. My players need to now start taking charge. What do I give to my players to let them start to actually take charge? Star Trek often splits the party. They usually will have 2 narratives running at the same time. They'll have the main narrative, which is the big crisis, and then they'll have something else that seems to have nothing to do with the plot at all. And then suddenly, when we get to the twist, they come together and everybody works together towards the conclusion. It's a very elegant model and it works really well, especially for what else they do, which is they have a sequence. They have a major episode where huge things are done and there's lots of pyrotechnics and ship battles and all those kind of wonderful things. Then they say, no more of this. Our next adventure is going to be a personal adventure, a story just about one of the characters. The split party thing, by the way, at this point becomes really important because whilst you're dealing with the one character's personal backgrounds, the other players can be going off and doing something else that seems to have nothing to do with it, but then it comes together. And then finally, they have these 2-parters, these extended episodes that last for 2 whole episodes. And those are long-form adventures that really take time to get in. So Star Trek has a lot to offer us. A lot of visual referencing that we can see in action. You only get good at this stuff if you put it into practice. And you can only put it into practice if you are watching other people do it or watching other shows do it. And then the final thing as to why every GM should be watching Star Trek. Star Trek has literally got hundreds and hundreds of episodes. Therefore, they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of potential adventures. And what we're going to be doing next time we come back to the Star Trek universe is taking one of those episodes and translating it into a fantasy kind of adventure so that you can see that the next time you're stuck, kick back, relax, sit down, watch an episode of Star Trek, your entire fantasy adventure is laid out in front of you in the 5 steps that you know all about, and then you can just play that through with your players. That's why we should be watching Star Trek. Now, if you agree with me, put it in the comments down below. If you think I'm talking absolute nonsense and that we should all actually be watching episodes of The Big Bang Theory, well, that's your choice. Prove to me that they don't use the same model. Spoiler alert, they do, because this is television and television follows the same format. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? What do you think about this new format as well, by the way? Next week, we're going to go on to world building and campaign design. And once Star Trek Adventures version 2 comes out, we will then deep dive into that mechanical system. And I think you will love it, personally. I think you will, because I love it. There are 1 or 2 bugbears that I don't like. For now, all that remains is for me to say thanks for watching and happy gaming.